Josh, I want to thank you for joining me today.
Sure thing.
Thank you so very much. Today, I really just want to cover what does somebody do when they fall behind on their mortgage payments. As you know, there's a lot of information out there. People can go absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
I would love for you to give your perspective from somebody that's been doing this for a long time.
Since 2008. Since 2008. I probably represented 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 consumers or homeowners in foreclosure. And Bobby, you being appreciative for me coming on is crazy because you've been doing this with me for a really long time. And what you add to my practice is something unique and special, and it allows me to leverage my legal license to actually do some damage and help people. So thank you, Bobby. The fact that you were worried I might come on, get out of here, brother. We've been in the trenches together for too long. So look, what Bobby wants me and what he and I both want people to understand is how to sift through the nonsense on the internet to reality. And there's a simple test to know whether you're being humbled. If it sounds too good to be true, it's not true. And what Bobby can explain to you, and what anybody who litigates and can explain to you, is this mortgage servicing industry is a multi-billion-dollar industry, and it's designed to take people's homes, and it's really hard to fight, and you got to have people in your corner like Bobby and attorneys like me. I'm only in New Jersey, can only speak about judicial states, but I'll shut up and let Bobby run this thing.
All righty. All right, so I'm going to share the little slide presentation that we came up with. You know, the way I came up with this is I put myself in a situation of a homeowner that's behind on their mortgage payment, and they jump on the internet or they start making phone calls, and they're really not sure where to start. And I think you, as well as anybody, can walk people through these different options that they have.
For sure. So I can speak truly as the top expert for New Jersey foreclosures. And the reason why I can't speak for the national foreclosures, and by the way, that's another reason why you can tell people are lying to you. If they're giving you a solution that works for every 50 states, they're absolutely lying to you. There are two different ways that states deal with transfer of real property rights: judicial states and non-judicial states. I think it's about 50-50. Don't know for sure. New Jersey is a judicial state. Maryland, California are non-judicial states, which means that it's much easier for a lender to foreclose and change the ownership of the property in a non-judicial state. So, but whether it's a judicial state or non-judicial state, there's one thing that stays the same. You need to take this seriously. You need to not listen to nonsense. And you got to speak to Bobby or an attorney in your state really fast, because you need some straight up information as to what your options are. And am I answering that question enough for you, Bobby? Because I don't really know how to drill down too far on just generalities, without some guidance from you.
No, I like it. I like what I like your position there. But yeah, if we could get to the more, again, if you could just touch on the specific different options, the good and the bad, of going down, of trying to figure out where to start.
All right, well, let's start with the realtor. If you have equity in your house and you just can't afford the house, if your house is worth, if your loan is $500,000 or $300,000 or whatever, and you just don't make enough money to make an affordable payment, then fighting like really hard, even if the bank has treated you bad, fighting really hard to stay in the property is just, it's going to lead to misery, and you probably better pulling out the equity. And that's where, on the left side, the realtor comes in. Contact realtors, figure out what the value of the property is, and make the really, really tough but financially smart decision to just cut your losses and without running further into the red, and make your move. And it's really hard to do. And I hate telling people about that, but I also like telling people that when we meet, because it's just important not to fall into the trap of I'm going to fight rather than sit back and think strategically as to what I need to do. Consumer attorney and foreclosure defense attorney, upper left, upper right. There's a big distinction between the two. Foreclosure defense attorney is someone who's going to say, hey, listen, I can defend the house. I can defend the bank. We can hold off, modify the loan. We'll try to find a way on playing defense. And that's important. And you need a good foreclosure defense attorney if you're going to get into foreclosure. But that's not the offensive side. There are many, many, many more foreclosure defense attorneys than there are consumer attorneys who practice in this area and find violations of federal law like RESPA that Bobby really knows inside out and backwards, and I rely on him for my practice to build those cases, and truth in lending and state consumer protection laws. So the consumer attorney is a foreclosure defense attorney who also sues banks. And if you can find one of those in your jurisdiction, that's your best move working with Bobby. Seriously, your best move working with Bobby. The bankruptcy attorney is interesting. In New Jersey, they're overrated. In California, they're essential. And the distinction there is whether it's a judicial state or a non-judicial state. If you're in a judicial state, bankruptcy is a tool. You need to file bankruptcy if you got a bunch of credit card debt and you need to clear things up in order to modify the loan. There's a lot of different reasons why to file bankruptcy in a judicial state. In a non-judicial state, nearly all the foreclosure litigation happens in the bankruptcy court itself, because it's the way to take out of the state process, which is the Zoom docket non-judicial. You get it into the bankruptcy trustee's hands. And then the creditor, the servicer, has to work through the bankruptcy court to try to take the house. The details on exactly how bankruptcy works in the non-judicial state, I am not an expert in. And by the way, that's another way of telling whether someone's lying to you. If they know everything. I don't know everything. And HUD counselors, I don't find them useful, but I'm not saying they're not useful. They're not useful to my clients because Bobby and I, both of us separate and certainly together, know more than any HUD counselor ever existed. So I don't use them. For my clients, don't use them in New Jersey, but I understand that people have had success with them. I just can't comment on them. Loan modification companies, experts, and consultants. That is a minefield of fraud. Bobby, this is the area in which you work, and you're one of the very, very, very few in this area who, one, truly know what you're talking about. Two, don't lie to people. And three, don't steal any money. It's so hard to find somebody. And there are other people out there who do right by clients, by customers, but it's a minefield. And my general advice is avoid all of them, present company accepted, except when working with an attorney who's actually an attorney and not an attorney who gets assigned to you through the loan modification company. And as far as do-it-yourself, DIY, you could. I don't think you should get involved in DIY, setting a broken bone. I also don't think you should DIY a foreclosure defense trying to protect the largest investment you'll ever make in your entire financial life. But people do it. I don't think it's a good plan.
Yeah, I'd like to touch on that, right? Because the reality is many, 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 many people get out there. They call their bank. They, with some sweat and tears and some blood sometimes, they're able to solve the problem.
Yeah.
I understand, people don't want to cough up money because nobody does any of this stuff for free. And I can understand people going that route.
That's not really the problem. I don't understand people not going that way in order to save money. I disagree with you there.
Right.
The people who make that decision to save money either A, can't afford the property, or B, are in such a panic mode, they're not thinking.
Right.
Let's say your housing, I mean, New Jersey housing prices are crazy. So I'm dealing with monthly mortgage payments of $3,000, $4,000 a month. Let's say you're in the middle of the country somewhere and the housing prices are less insane. You're talking about a monthly payment of, $1,000, $1,200, $900. There's enough money in your budget if you can afford that. You can afford that. There's enough money in your budget to find the right expert to help you. And I think, Bobby, the problem is people can't find the right expert. It's not so much as I don't want to pay anybody. That's just
You're probably right. Right. All righty. I really appreciate your time. And as always, I appreciate your candor. Somebody recently told me, Bobby, you don't sugarcoat anything.
No.
And I'm glad to say that about you as well.
Never. I want to say one thing to folks before I bounce, because I got to get to the meeting here. And it's this: you're in a war. Don't pretend you're not. And you're fighting with you're fighting with a $1 trillion industry. Get people in your corner who actually fight and won't lie to you. That's all I got to say. And good luck.
Again,
and Bobby's awesome. Not only is he a great guy, he truly knows his stuff.
Again, I appreciate it, Josh. All right. I'm
Later,
sure we'll
Bobby.
be doing this again soon. Bye.